Okay, welcome to another program in Introduction to Pascal. We ended our last program by our last lesson, rather, by looking at the basic outline of a Pascal program. Or you were also introduced to the Lazarus environment. Let me just do a quick overview as to what we covered in our last lesson. We looked at the program structure. And we said that we start every program with every Pascal program with the program keyword and the name of the program. Then we have the begin, and then we have our end, and between we have our statement. We have our right ln, which is the shortening for right line, and then we have what we want to display on the screen here in quotation. And then we end with our semicolon. And this here is actually to freeze what's on the screen for us to see our output. All right, let me again start and remember, and I'm going to start from scratch. Remember that we start from file new, and we select, remember, just put this right here, simple program. Then we click OK. I'm not going to change it, and I'm going to delete everything here. All right, so again, I'm going to start a simple program. Remember, program, and the name of the program, I'm going to call this program addition. All right, and again, we end with the semicolon. Then I'm going to introduce you to a important concept in Pascal known as variables. And I'm going to speak more on variables later. And we start or we um, we name our variables. And we use the keyword var just to indicate that we will be naming our variables in the Pascal program. Now, notice also when I start naming my variable, I'm going to call this here num1, and I'm going to separate each variable by a, um, a comma, num2, and also some, all right, and I'm going to end here with a colon and the type of data that we will be storing in each variable. So let me go again. So we have our keyword var. Remember, keyword that is actually reserved for um, the Pascal program, the compiler. So the compiler actually set aside some keywords that you cannot use to call or to name variables. They are set aside for the compiler to use. So when they see these, for example, var or program, they know exactly what to do. So we have here our variables, and var is a shorthand for variables. And we have three variables here. And let me pause to say that variables are somehow, I want you to initialize, rather not to initialize, but to look at variables as somehow as containers, right, that we store things in. And as the program executes, then it can change the content that is inside the variable. So we have three variables here. We have num1, we have num2, and we have sum. And we are planning to store what we call integers within these variables, right? So we declare, and this is what we call our data type. Okay, right? So let me go ahead and start with begin. And then I have my, and I'm going to put a comment here, and it is a good programming practice that whenever you write your programs, you try to leave a comment on your program so that those who come after you can read your program and know exactly what the program is trying to solve. So here we have our block of statement. And remember, we looked at it earlier. So I'm going to change here for to a full stop. All right. So we have begin, no semicolon, which is my comment. Let me just put here comment. All right, no quotation. Uh, Rather semicolon. It seems as if I'm having a bad freeze of brain here. All right, so here we have our right ln statement. So we have input number one, and then I have ended with my semicolon. Now, when you have a right ln input, and I'm going to pause here and I'm going to run this program and you will see what will happen here. Remember that? Okay, so let me just quickly put my read ln here just to demonstrate what will happen and the importance of the right line statement. It is actually prompting the user to enter something here. So notice when you run the program and you get successfully built, input num1. So notice it is asking you, and you see your insertion point here blinking. Now, where you have the right ln, when you use the right ln, the cursor will go to a new line asking you to enter the number at this new line here. All right, now notice the difference here. When I use the right keyword, and I'm going to run it here, notice here, now notice the difference between the right and the right ln. With the right now, it is in line with the actual word that is printed on the screen, right? So we have the insertion point here blinking in line with the the word that is in quotation here. So that's a difference rather. With the right ln, the insertion point is placed in a new line, but with the right, it is in the same line. All right, hope you actually saw that, right? Let me just move on. So I'm going to delete here. All right, so we have our right line. Good, all right? So now when you actually ask the user to enter a number, the first thing that you need to do is to put the number in a variable. And I'm going to use the keyword again, read line, in order to read the number that the user enter into a variable. And I'm going to put this in num1. But notice also that we are not using a comma or a quotation mark here. The difference is with the acceptance or accepting of a value within a variable, we do not use a quotation mark. Whenever we want to print something on the screen, there we go and we use a quotation mark. All right, so this is what will happen. And let me go ahead and put my read ln in order to freeze what's on the screen, and I'm going to run this again and notice what will happen. There we go, input num1, and I'm going to input 2 on my keyboard, and then I'm going to press enter. All right, nothing will happen. Right, what is happening here? You are not seeing it. This place the number 2 within the variable num1, right? So somewhere in memory, there is a location that the computer set aside or name num1, and inside num1, we just put the value 2, right? Okay, good, right? Hope you're following me very well. All right, so let us move on. All right, so we have the read num1. Then I'm going to put another R, right? All right, I'm going to pause here, and in the next lesson, we are going to complete the program, and you will see how we add and we assign also values to other variables. Thank you, and I'll see you in lesson 3.